Well, it's already raining. I'm not sure how long we'll stay out here today. Well, it's raining pretty good now, as you can hear. Oh, I think that's it for our outside work. And that's fine. I think maybe I might take an afternoon off and go pick up my book and have an espresso and relax. Well, we've got a beautiful day today. It's pretty mild. We had a fair bit of rain last night. But I made a little bit of progress yesterday. I was going down to Art's, but he got tied up with stuff and that kind of thing. So I did some odd jobs around here. One of them was moving out the auxiliary log bunk and putting those in place on the standard log bunk, which means I got to get going at them. So we are doing quite well here for boards and lumber. There's my 2x4s and 2x6s. And that's my battens and my boards. So I have got enough to start any time, but I want these to dry for a little bit, and I really need to help Art get through some of his, because he hasn't gotten very far yet at all on getting his fresh logs cut. And that, as I have said a few times, is a real necessity if you're going to keep the bugs out of them. Well, it's been a strange day today. The rain started pretty early and then quit. So we're going to try to get a little bit of time back out of at that pine tree. But, you know, other progress has been made. The shop is now stained all the way around. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm quite pleased with it. Got my boat racked back up and the boat's back in it and tidied up back here a bit. So let's jump on the ATV and head back. This time we're going to go the opposite way back in and try to come down to the tree from the top of the hill, and we'll see how that works. Well, there it is. We'll go down here and have another look at things and see if I can make a little more sense out of stuff. So there's the main piece here, and that's through this section that I'm hoping I might get a couple of 8-foot segments out of it. But the rest of it gets quite small very quickly. And then I have to figure out whether I can do anything with the part that's still upright there. Is it worthwhile? This is obviously going to be full of very big knots and stuff. And it's a shame this one came down. It's really not a good tree, or not as good a tree as I would have chosen to take down, that's for sure. That's the one I want. But it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky to drop that and not have it bust all up. You know, I've got a pretty good clearing where I can drop it down into, but as it comes down, it's going to gain so much momentum that it's probably going to bust it up as it hits the bottom of the hill here. You can see here where this takes a real good curve, which is part of the reason why I would have never bothered to cut this tree, because it is so twisted. There's just way too much of it that isn't of any use. But now that I'm forced into it, I can possibly cut it around here in this area where it straightens out, as there's no point in cutting back here. This is useless to me. We're just going to let nature take its course with that. Well, let's see what we can figure out. I do need to get it off the trail at the very least. Sun's not really out, but the mosquitoes are. Holy mackerel. So pretty important to be sprayed up and ready for that. And I guess one other little cautionary tale I'd share with you. I had a friend who's in the area, whose mother passed away quite recently. And it was the result or the complications of a tick bite. Because ticks in this area carry more than just Lyme disease. There's another infection that you can get from them. I'm not aware of the name of it right now. I'll find out the name and put it up on the bottom of the video clip here so you can see it and look up more information on it yourself. All right, let's get stuff set up. I forgot my camera tripod, so we're just going to have to go on with what we've got here. Well, I brought a cantilever with me, along with my big chainsaw, the big Husqvarna. We'll see if we can figure out where to start cutting here to try to get an 8-foot length out. And as I mentioned in the last video, you know, it doesn't show up well here, but I'm on a pretty steep hill. You've got to be so careful working with this stuff on a hill. Things decide to roll. Yeah, you can imagine. So my first cut here should be pretty easy, because where I want to cut is sitting right on top of this limb. So that will keep this end up in the air, and then we'll have to be kind of careful what happens down at the other end to see which way the log wants to settle as I cut. So let's get this first cut done. I apologize for the footage. I hope this is going to look all right. Forgetting my tripod back at the shop doesn't help anything. But I still wanted to show you guys basically what we got out here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's what can happen with the big one. There it goes. Come on. Boy, you wouldn't want that rolling on you. Let's try to measure off here and see what we've got. We may take one more cut here. Here's my 8-foot mark. Okay. Okay. This one won't roll down the hill quite as easily. Way too many limbs in the way. Okay. You got to watch with the chainsaw. The exhaust does get hot. So be careful where you put it after you've cut. You get out in a dry bush and get the wrong set of scenarios happening, and you could be in trouble. All right. see if we can get this to roll just a little bit. Okay. Just will not bite in. Now this has this little extra T-arm on it, which is used to kind of hold your log up in the air when you're cutting, which theoretically sounds like a pretty good idea, but maybe not when you're dealing with a tree. Okay. There she goes. Well, I should be able to drag that out from that position without too much trouble. So that's pretty good. Okay guys, let's hike up this hill. So that's going to be it for today's video. There we go. So thanks very much for watching, guys. And we'll see you out on the trails the next time. Oh boy, I am soaked.